Okay, I'm making another video. But this video is about a very serious subject. And, you know, I guess it's maybe it's about two subjects. But anyway, this video is about bullying and suicide. And nobody deserves to be bullied. Nobody deserves to be bullied. Even the people who are bullies don't deserve to get bullied. You know, the people who are picking on other people, on kids, you know, the people who are making their lives miserable, you know, are probably going through something themselves. You know, I remember a few times, you know, towards my two younger brothers, I was a bully to them. And that's because I was being bullied by other kids. You know, thank God they never, I don't think they ever bullied anybody. I don't think they ever bullied anyone, thank God for that. Thank God it ended with them. But, yeah, I just remember how, you know, I just remember in high school, I had almost nothing to feel good about, you know. And if I did, there was somebody in my class that would say something to rob me of feeling good about myself, you know. There was someone who did that, someone who he intentionally did that to destroy the things that I could feel good about, to ruin feeling good about myself, you know. He did that intentionally, you know. He was a class president. He was the most popular person in our class. He was, you know, like Mr. Popular, Mr. You know, a million friends, you know, Mr. Athletic. You know, he was like the male athlete of our class. You know, it's like, what else could you want? What purpose could destroying the few things I could feel good about myself, what would that accomplish? Why do that? I still don't know. This is like 30 years since I graduated. And I still don't know why he had to do that. Why he had to say something to rob my feeling good about myself for having done something good, for having done something really well. Why did he have to do that? You know, I don't know. I don't know. You know, but I just remember that, you know, yeah, I just, oh, Oh, excuse me. I just remember a few times that, um, the few times, well, I didn't, you know, when I was growing up, I really didn't think about suicide very much, you know, because if I had thought about it, I probably thought, hey, that's a great idea. I should do that, you know, and I'd be gone, you know. I'd be gone. I would have been a goner if I had thought about suicide a lot. I probably would have done it. I probably said, what's the point of living? My life's just going to be crap the rest of my life. You know, I might as well, you know. But if I had if I had done that, I wouldn't have been alive to see most all of my nephews and every one of my three nieces. You know, I never would have seen them. Oh man, excuse me. I never would have been alive to see my three nieces, and most of my nephews, because I'd be gone. I'd be in the ground somewhere. I'd be 6 feet under already. You know, my family would have, you know, my siblings would have had kids that I never would have met. You know, my Navy career never would have happened. Graduating from Valley City State in May 14th, 2011, never would have happened. I never even would have gone to college if I'd committed suicide when I was in high school. You know, you got to think about what you were doing when you're mean to people. You know, and when you think it's no big deal, you know, that might be, you know, for them to feel good about themselves, that might be one of the only things they feel good about themselves with. You know, what if they have next to nothing to feel good about? You know, and you say something nasty to them to rob them of their joy of feeling good about something. You know, they might have almost nothing to feel good about. You know, so you are stealing their joy of feeling good about something, which is true about my case. You know, one time in Fayette, I had 2 home runs in wiffle ball. You know, a lot of people who watch this video might think, "Oh, that's no big deal. Who cares? Whoop-de-doo-dah." You know, you might be right, but guess what? There's only one other thing I could feel good about, that I felt good about myself when I was in high school. Hitting 2 home runs in wiffle ball, and doing well at the current events quiz and a couple of classes I had. That was it. Other than that, I had nothing to feel good about myself. Nothing. You know, I probably had other things I could feel good about myself, but I didn't. You know, those were the only two things I felt good about myself. The only two things. You know, and yet, you know, Mr. Popular, and yet Mr. Popular had to say something to rob my joy of feeling good about that. You know, all because He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn when when it comes to playing wiffle ball. He could not you know, hit the broadside of a barn with a bat. I mean, he totally sucked at wiffle ball, but yet he had to say something nasty to me because I was good at it. You know, he had to do that. You know, oh my gosh. You know, man, it would have been so easy for me to have taken my own life or take his life. You know, praise God, neither one of those happened. You know, oh man, it's like, okay, God, why is this happening? Why did I have a stroke? You know, March 3rd, 1990, 2016, a year ago. Why did I have a stroke? And why do I have to go through so much crap now? You know, I mean, it's just like, why this? Oh my gosh. I wish I knew the answer. I wish God would tell me the answer. I wish I could know. That would be nice. Oh, I'm so tired. I am so tired and I should go to bed. I should go to bed and I should get, you know. Oh man, I feel like I'm so tired. Yep. Yeah. But actually, I've got more to say. You know, I've got more to talk about when it comes to committing suicide. When you commit suicide, you know, not only are you giving up on your present, but you're giving up on your future, the future of everybody you know and love as well. You're giving up on being a part of their future. You're giving up on your future. You're giving up on their future. You're giving up on yourself. You're saying that your life isn't worth living, you know, and you're giving up on that day and every tomorrow that you would ever have by committing suicide. It is not worth it. Don't ever think that suicide is the answer, because suicide is never, ever, ever the answer. You know, things might be bad today, things might be bad tomorrow, and things might be bad the day after, but you don't know what your life will be like in a week, a month, a year, a decade. You have no idea. You have no idea. You know, there were so many times in my life, so many times in my Navy career, so many times it would have been so easy to jump off the back of the off the back of the ships I was on, were on, or jump overboard. You know, at night when we're out at sea, and have nobody ever find me again. To just disappear. To disappear and drown. You know, it would have been so easy to just say, screw what I'm going through. You know, forget it. You know, I don't need to go through this. I can just take my own life and it'd be all over. You know. You know. I'm saying, yeah, suicide is an easy choice to make, but it's also the wrong one. Because if I had done that when I was in the Navy, you know, if I had done that when I was in the Navy, guess what? Guess what? Hang on just a second. Hang on while I get some. Yeah, alright. Yeah. If I had jumped, if I had killed myself in the Navy, guess what never happens? I never graduate from college. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you see this? Bachelor of Science, Nathan James Faust. You know, I never have this because I would have been dead by the time I graduated from VCSU. I don't have, you know, if I had committed suicide, this never happens. You know, this never happens to have graduated at 46. You know, almost 8 years older than the school president himself, and 4 years older than one of my professors. You know, try finding someone who's ever done that. You know, that never would have happened. You know, I never would have gone back to school because I would have been dead. You know, the things I've been able to do since my New Year career, none of them happened. If I'd committed suicide when I was in the Navy, you know, not only are you giving up on yourself and your future and your loved ones' lives and their futures, but you're giving up on what God has for you. You're giving up on the highs and the lows that God has for you. Because you don't know tomorrow. You know, you might have, tomorrow you could have a stroke. You know, like I did. March 3rd, 2016. I had a stroke. You know, it hasn't been fun, but you know, it's been a struggle sometimes. It's been rough. You know, I can't drive now. The occupational therapist is like, oh, but your blood sugar's too high. You know, if you have 200, if I have a really high blood sugar and I eat more junk food and my blood sugar goes a lot higher, I can pass out driving. And so my therapist and my doctor are like, we can't take the chance. We can't take the chance. So I have to walk everywhere I go to get on the bus and then get on, to be able to get a bus ride. And then I have to ride the bus where I want to go and get off and then walk to the place where I want to go or, you know. But anyway, yeah. Does that suck? Yeah. More than slightly. It sucks a lot to have to do that. But if I commit suicide, someday I'm going to get my license back. Someday, I mean, I'm in the process with my oldest brother to sell my car. The car I love, that's dear to me. The car that I enjoy driving. The car that I had less than a year. Had less than a year of driving it. It was less than a year that I was driving it until I had my stroke. And I haven't driven it since. So anyway, one day I'm going to get my license back. One day I'm going to be driving again. Might not be the same car I have now, but yet, it's like, okay, well, cars come and cars go, and, that's the way that goes, but, yeah, I mean, things haven't been exactly fun or easy since my stroke. I had to work extremely hard to be able to do the things that I'm able to do now. Oh, cool. Oh, that's right. Alright, there we go. It hasn't been easy to be able to have to walk quite a ways to before I can get on the bus and to get to where I want to go. It's not fun doing that. Believe me, it's not fun. But yet, suicide is not the answer. Is not the answer for me to change the way things are. Committing suicide would not help fix the problem. The problem might be fixed all right, but then I'd miss out on a lot of other things. I'd miss out on seeing one of my nephews and my two nieces finish growing up, what they become. I wouldn't be around here for that, or to see the kids they have, or to possibly get married myself, if that's in God's plan and God's will. That would never happen if I commit suicide. If it is God's plan for me to someday get married, then, well, then I would have decided for God. It wasn't His plan for me to get married. But anyway, I mean, if you've ever been a bully, if you've ever put people down and be mean to other people. Think about what you're doing. You know, think about how much damage you're doing to that person. Think about it. You know, think about how you're hurting them. You know. Yeah. Yep. You know. And yesterday I told the pastor of the church I'm going to about a saying. I did a report on a man that led over 900 people to their deaths. 900 people died because they believed in him, because they trusted him. They had faith in him, okay? 900 people died because the person they believed, the person who they put their trust and their faith in, was a liar, was a thief. You know, he was, let's see, what else can you say about him? He was a terrible person. You know, he would have sex with whatever woman he wanted to of his followers. You know, if this beautiful woman was one of his followers and he wanted to, hey, you know, he did that. You know, he did whatever he wanted to. You know, 900 people, over 900 people died because of their faith and their trust in him. Okay? And ironically, he had a saying. He had a saying above his, you know, on a board above his it was his kind of a throne, I guess is what you could say. But anyway, okay. The saying is, those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it. Okay? Those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it. Okay. He didn't say, it wasn't a quote from him. It was a quote from George Santayana. Okay. He was an American historian who said that about around 1900, give or take 10 or 20 years. Okay, around, it's about 1900 when he said that. And that thing was above this guy's throne. And like I said before, over 900 people died because they put their faith and trust in somebody who was a charlatan, a thief, a con man, you know. And his name was Jim Jones. They believed in him. You know, it's ironic. It is very ironic that he has a saying like that. You know, Because if you don't remember what happened in Jonestown and what happened to his followers, you know, you might be susceptible to follow someone exactly like Jim Jones. You know, follow him to your death. Okay. You know, over 900 people died because of that. Over 900 people were taken in by his fake healings and his speech. You know, I mean, 900 people were taken in by his skill with speaking, you know, and his charisma, and, you know, with him. 900 people. And if you think about it, if you forget what happened at Jonestown and forget about the fact that he was able to con 900 people into killing themselves, you know, they didn't really kill themselves. They were forced to kill themselves. You know, they were forced to do that. You know, man, that's what I love history. You know, that's why I love history. Okay, you know, a smart man learns from his own mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others or the mistakes of in history. Okay? Think about that. Remember that. A smart man learns from his own, smart person learns from their own mistakes, but a wise person learns from other people's mistakes and mistakes made in history. You know. So, anyway, learn from the mistakes of others. You know, don't give up hope. Because God has a plan for you. God has a plan for you and a plan for me. And committing suicide is not the solution. It is never the solution. See you later. Bye.